Hi, my name's Avery and I love books, and can I just live in a romance book already? I mean, come on. Hi guys, so today I'm here to recommend some romance books to y'all. I love romance books and I would love to share them with you. So here are some that I believe don't get as much hype as other ones. The first romance book that I have for you is Why We Broke Up, written by Daniel Handler with art by Maria Kalman. So this book was very good for me. It's very interesting. The premise is really cool. We have this girl named Min who has decided to give all of her ex-boyfriend's stuff away, whose name is Ed. So we are told at the beginning of this book that she has this box full of Ed's stuff that she plans on giving back to him. And she's writing him this letter, and written in this letter is the meaning to all of the things that she has in this box. So it's kind of inferred by the title here that we won't really have a happy ending because they do break up, which is why it's called Why We Broke Up. It tells the story of Min and Ed, and overall, before the breakup part, it's a wonderful romance story, and it's quirky and unique, and I love it. And at the beginning of every chapter, we have a drawing of the object that she is talking about. For instance, we have things like a toy truck, and a camera, and a box of matches. So it's very unique, and I love this story. I read it a few years ago and enjoyed it. It looks big, but it's mostly filled with pictures, and the text is kind of big as well, so I flew through it and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next romance book that I have for you is Come Back to Me by Mila Gray. So we have this 17-year-old girl named Jessa, and she has had a crush on her brother's best friend ever since she can remember, and he's a few years older than her and is actually in the military with her brother. And the book starts out with her on her 17th birthday, and Kit appears one day, and it turns out that he has secretly felt the same way as Jessa, and things ensue from there. I am in love with Mila Gray's books. She's amazing. Her romance books just suck me in and I want to stay in them, and she just makes the male characters so realistic and she makes them so swoon-worthy. My god. I absolutely loved this book and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I have for you is another Mila Gray book, and that is Stay With Me. So we follow our main protagonist, and her name is Dee Dee, and she is actually a side character in the previous book that I stated, Come Back to Me. She is Jessa's best friend, and in this book we get a take on her romance story. So Dee Dee is planning to go into the medical field, and to be able to do that, she is interning at this facility where there are veterans recovering from any kind of injury. And while she's at this facility, she meets a man named Zach who has lost his sight during war. And it's beautifully wonderful, and another swoon-worthy male protagonist, and I just... This one wasn't as good as Come Back to Me though, in my opinion, so I ended up actually giving it a 4 out of 5 stars, but it was still a wonderful read for me. The next book that I have for you is The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So this book is so cute. Like, I just want to squeeze its little chubby cheeks. It's so cute. It's fairly large, but it's absolutely worth it. So we have our main character Mallory, who until a few years ago was in the foster care system and was being abused. And while she was in that foster home, she was always told to be quiet and not to speak and to watch what she says. And she then gets adopted by a family, and even when she is adopted by them, she still doesn't come out of her shell. She still doesn't speak all that much. She rarely speaks at all. But while she is in her adopted family, they have decided to homeschool her for all the time that she has been in their house, until one year she decides that she would love to change that and actually go to a public school and get out of her comfort zone. And on her first day of public school, she is sitting in class and she comes across a boy named Ryder who was her foster brother in her abusive foster home. And it's about them reconnecting, and it's wonderful and so cute, and I just want to hug it all the time. Mallory definitely grows as a character in this book, and I love it. I love it so much. Another swoon-worthy male character as well, I have to say. The relationship is wonderful, and they have so much chemistry, and it was really, really interesting for them to connect again, and for them to look back and relive all of those memories back in their foster home. It was interesting to read from that kind of perspective. And I ended up giving this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, and I recommend it to anyone who just wants a cute, wonderful read. So the last romance book recommendation that I have for y'all today is actually a classic if you're willing to go that way, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This book is one of my favorites of all time, I have to say. Even in my senior year English class, I was known as the Jane Eyre girl because I would literally connect any piece of work or any writing or write any paper about Jane Eyre that I possibly could. And it's just because this story gets me every single time. I have also listened to this on audiobook, and I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. Definite swoon-worthy male character in this book. You cannot get more swoon-worthy than Mr. Rochester, except for maybe Mr. Darcy. So if you did not know what this book is about, it is set in England during the 19th century, and it's about our heroine Jane here and her journey basically to find herself. Ever since she was a little girl, she has not faced much affection from anyone at all, and at the beginning of the story we learn that both of her parents have died when she was really young, and she has moved in with her aunt and her devilish cousins, I want to say. So her aunt has sent her away to this girl preparatory school, and she spends her time there learning to become a governess. And once she has developed into a woman and has set out many job applications, she has finally received one back from a Mr. Rochester of Thornfield Hall to take care of his ward. Let's just say that Jane and Mr. Rochester have sparks fly between them, and it's a wonderful classic romance. I can't get enough of it ever, and the movies for them are absolutely wonderful as well. I believe I've actually watched every single Jane Eyre movie ever made that's on YouTube and Netflix. But yes, I love this book with all my heart, and it is one of my favorites. Of course, it is a 5 out of 5 stars, and I recommend it to anyone. So there you go. There are some of my romance recommendations. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know down below what your favorite romance book is, and also let me know which of these you're interested in. I would love to know. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all next week with a new video. Bye. Oh, I got the hiccups.